Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, March 12th, 2024 meeting of the Town of Newcastle Town Board. I would like to state that the town has been in executive session discussing appointments in boards and commissions and matters requiring consultation with our town attorney. So may I have a motion to close the executive session and open the town board meeting?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will start with announcements. Jill, do you have any announcements? No, it would be a presentation on the quarterly update of upcoming current town projects. So Jill, if you want to start with your administrator's report and maybe then just move right on to item D on the agenda.
Hold on one second, I'm just gonna set your here. People may have noticed spring at least has come to our downtown. The chairs and the tables have been returned to the communal spots out in front of Great Stuff and on Lower King. The black planters have been restored as well. We're gonna be cleaning them out, and the garden club pretty soon is gonna be planting for us, so we're so excited. Thanks to the BAB and the garden club for all their hard work. Let me see, the Easter egg hunt is on March 23rd. The rec field will be open on April 5th. Those are just a couple of dates. Okay. So earlier this year, the town, and so I just want to start the board off by just referring back to that document and just updating those key items that the board had identified for us early on, and just let you know where we are at this point. Hold on to the infrastructure for a moment because I'm gonna go through all of those. But when it comes to zoning, specifically North Greeley and 50 North Greeley, there is nothing before the town board at this point. The town board had passed legislation previously, and we're waiting for the applicant to make a submission to us. So I know that the board has gotten a lot of questions about 50 North Greeley, but there's nothing before the board. There's nothing for the town to do. When the applicant's ready, they'll take and submit something, and we will consider it at that time. Regarding the zoning and the visioning of town-owned property around the train station, we expect the board to receive a graphic package from the consultant at the end of this week. Once the town board makes decisions on the graphics, that will allow us to order banners, the triangle signs, and start advertising for the visioning project kickoff. So we're right on the cusp, and we're all really excited about it.
And we'll have the website active as of tonight, actually, so I'll be putting a link in the town newsletter for that.
Perfect, yeah, we're right there. To give the board an update on the CHAP line, so our TAP application was submitted in January of 2024. We are in the midst of resubmitting for congressional directed spending. The deadline actually had been April 14th. It was moved, March 14th, it had been moved to April 5th, but Sabrina basically had the application ready to go, so I think she's going to be submitting it shortly. We were thrilled to get a letter of support from the school district and from the boosters, and we're happy to add to our collection a letter from Congressman Lawler, which was really welcome and very appreciated. Let me see. Regarding the 120 sidewalk extension that we were hoping to piggyback onto our onto the water main replacement up 120 when that project starts. EDR, the engineering firm that's handling that matter, was retained for a feasibility study. We had the kickoff meeting on March 7th, and we're expecting deliverables from them on April 30th. So we'll soon see what they come up with. Although it would be our preference to stay on one side of the street because of the environmental concerns and just the challenges that are there topographically, we gave them permission to look at both sides of the street and consider a crossing from one side of 120 to another for the sidewalk. it's not ideal, but if it means that we could do it, we would consider it. The additional sidewalks that the town had identified for us, West Orchard School, getting into Millwood Center, and along 117 to 120. Those are still on our to-do list, and we hope to be reporting back to the board later in the year. With regard to the Amsterdam property and making it a little bit more camp-friendly, we received a grant from Senator Harcum in order to install heat pumps at both the Chappaqua train station and at Amsterdam. Chappaqua train station project has completed, and we will be turning our attention to Amsterdam. So there's going to be 2 rooms at Amsterdam that we will be able to use all year round, and there will be air conditioned for, like, one of them is the nurse's offices for the camp, and the other one will just be an arts and crafts type room. But again, we're just trying to put ourselves in a position that we have sufficient indoor space for the campers so that Amsterdam can really be a more versatile day camp. And we're slowly but surely moving along, baby steps. So the other thing that's a big thing is the perk test. We really would like to be able to put traditional bathrooms out there, and unfortunately it just has been so wet, and the property is wet to begin with, that we have to redo the perk test in order to do the bathrooms. But again, we are seeking funding for the installation of a traditional septic field under one of the Amsterdam playing fields, and the installation of a real bathroom there as well. We think it would really make all the difference in the world to the property.
And Jill, I just want to point out that we're looking into expanding access to the summer camp for Camp Adventure.
Yes.
And that's where Camp Adventure is. And so with this the indoor space was planned before we determined that we needed to do this. So with the indoor space determined, would it accommodate a larger number?
The indoor space at this point, the 2 rooms that we are completing are the smaller of the rooms. I think they would probably only have a capacity of maybe 30 or so. There's a larger upstairs space that needs a little bit more work to it. And if according to Tom DePaul, our building inspector, in order for us to put, I think, in excess of 75 or 80 people, we would need to install another staircase. So there are some significant projects.
So you could have upstairs, downstairs. What's the enrollment now for the camp?
I don't know.
What's the numbers? Well, we're going to have the rec department come in, and we're going to have a joint meeting in case people are listening and they care about this issue. So we'll get all the information that we need. But I just want to, to check that off, because I just want to flag that, because I just want to make sure that we have enough indoor spaces to accommodate.
Yeah, it is top on our list. So
Okay.
It's one of the things we're moving ahead with. So at this point, I'm just going to go through the current projects. It starts with FEMA, which is reimbursements that we're looking for FEMA. It starts with the Minkle Dam. So for those of you that don't recall, the Minkle Dam is Sunny Ridge Preserve. It's a lovely property that we took in rem, which means that there were outstanding taxes on it, and so we decided that it would be great to have it as a park and open space. We're a little bit more careful about the properties that we now take, because what we didn't realize is that it had a dam. And when the DEC determined that it was a high-risk dam, it forced the town to make a determination as to whether or not they were going to decommission the dam or rebuild the dam. The pricing was about the same, in excess of $1 million, and so the previous boards determined to take and decommission the dam. So we received a $425,000 grant for phase 1, which was design, engineering, and the creation of bid documents. And we're awaiting authorization to apply for phase 2, which would be the construction and the actual decommissioning of the dam, which we expect to run in excess of $1 million. So we're in the midst of preparing that paperwork and just waiting for word that we can submit the application. The next,
We do have a FEMA grant though for the remainder of the Minkle Dam costs.
right, but I think there were some additional Westchester County monies that we were looking for as well.
Okay, and just so people know, the area would be available for recreation.
Oh,
Would it be
yes.
just a decommissioning of a dam and just a kind of loss there? There'd be opportunities for passive recreation, trails and walkways.
Right, and
Okay.
so what happened is that years ago, it's a man-made embankment, and so they basically took a wetlands and they dammed it up, so they would create a bit of a pond. And there's a significant retaining wall on that, which is showing its age. And so the DEC determined that we would be better off to take and decommission it, which will be a very slow process. It's not like, the movies where they just blow it up and like water goes rushing. This is gonna be a trickle of a decommissioning that'll take place in the winter and over a series of months. And the neighbors are aware of it, the surrounding community is aware of it. There is a lower Minkle Dam as well that abuts a condo development, and they have been informed, their town engineer has been informed, it's Ansondale. We've been in touch with everyone, but we expect it'll be replanted with native plantings and basically restored to the way it was before somebody decided to dam it up.
Okay, so it's really a return to nature, which is
That's
a nice thing,
perfect way to put it.
but expensive.
But expensive, yes. The next is the Pedestrian Bridge in our downtown, after I believe SIES, significant water affected the integrity of the supports of that pedestrian bridge. So FEMA approved the temporary repair, that's been done, that's why the bridge is open, and we're awaiting design and bid documents to see if FEMA will actually approve a rebuild. Byron Lake Road culvert was also affected by those storms. Tectonic has been hired for design and bid documents, and actually, because this project was lagging a bit, we actually went out to bid and we've hired Maganaro Engineering to help us advance the project, get those bid documents for final design, bid documents, and the construction inspection. So we're hoping that this project moves along a little bit. Unfortunately, we were denied our application for generators for both the community center and the Chapac. The Shether Road slope stabilization and stormwater quality. Tectonic has filed for a wetlands permit for stabilization of the project, and plans and specifications are in progress, and we're hoping that this is gonna be a 2024 project. Turning to our water infrastructure, we have the North Bedford Road pump station that we have been working on. The idea of this redesign is to upgrade the pumps that are in the station, and also the generators operating that would be backup for the pumps. Wood and Curd were hired for the design and the bid documents. This is out to bid and it's returnable on April 9th. So I expect the board in the next month to receive information about awarding a bid. There are also cement lining projects that we still have to issue an RFP for, that's going to be later on. That involves Kathleen Lane, Daly Cross, Horseshoe Road, Valley View, Brookside, and High Point Circle. We are in the midst of reviewing bid results for the water main replacements, however, on Meadow, Pine Cliff, Ridge, and Alden. The pipe has been purchased, and Alden was saw cut already in preparation for this work. And by the way, there was a targeted e-alert that went to the area of Alden, Mayberry Lane, Whitlaw, and a small section of Seven Bridges Road. It affects about 50 houses. They're going to be doing some work and replacing a water tap along that property. The reason why I mention it is that they're going house to house and they're hanging door tags. But what we noticed today when we issued the e-alert is that although we know that it affects 50 properties, we only were able to send e-alerts to I think 27 of them. So that means that there's a significant number of people in that area that will not be getting our e-alerts to remind people and alert them that they're gonna have their water interrupted on Thursday.
Wow.
I can't impress upon people how important it is that you sign up for e-alerts. I know it's a hassle. We switched out from Code Red to our new system. It's an upgraded system. It is a terrific system, but unless you sign up for it, you're not gonna get
I'm
any of
sorry,
the information.
how many people did you say did not get it?
We only were able to send it to 20 something and there we know that there are 50 homes. So just about half.
Can we go and
We will,
put a letter on their doors or?
yes, we put door
Yeah.
hangers, letters
Okay.
on each of those homes to let them know. But, we would like to be able to let people know, if something changes,
Did we put the recommendation to go on alerts? In the
it
notices
is
on the door hangers?
it's on the
Okay.
letters, but again, this is just, one of those things that, we're finding. This is how we find out that we have gaps in our
Yeah,
our
okay.
notification system, so I'm hoping that people take and try to sign up. Okay. Let's see, where would we leave off? I'm thrilled to report that the Millwood Water Treatment Plant generator has been delivered. That's our backup generator that 18 months ago spontaneously combusted, for lack of a better term. The roof project at the Millwood Water Treatment Plant, we are on punch list items, which means that the installation is just about complete. Also the generator fuel tank replacement at the Millwood Water Treatment Plant. We're awaiting delivery of some additional equipment, a pump set and a filtration system by March 20th. Work will resume after these parts are received. And then we expect the project to be complete by June 2024. So we're very excited about that. The Chat Pack roof has been completed. We still have a project pending at Chat Pack for the replacement of all auditorium fixtures with LED dimmables. That was care of a grant from Senator Harcum. We thank him very much for that. Also with the Chat Pack, D&B engineers have completed almost final engineering plans for the drainage improvements, including a new gas service line and construction inspection. We created a capital project for this budget and we are just having some in-house reviews and edits with the consultant and we're expecting to go out to bid in the next, by the end of the month, hoping to award this in May and then have the project complete in July and August. In Gedney Park, the RFP to replace the stairs and the retaining wall, that work was completed last year. In Millwood Park, we are in the midst of designing ADA access for our new playground, which is complete. Our plans are being finalized and those plans will form the basis of an RFP to be issued shortly, we hope by April 1st. And it'll take about, we're hoping that that work is done this summer, so excited about that as well. We already talked about the TAP grant. Unfortunately, our Millwood sidewalk project is still stalled. Unfortunately, we had a number of key retirements from New York State DOT. They tell us now it's being fast-tracked, but also fast-tracked can mean that it can take up to 9 months. Let's see, proposed 133 sidewalk. That is still on our to-do list as the 120 sidewalk that's gonna be piggybacked onto the south, we hope, onto the Wagon Road Camp proposal. There are a couple of significant New York State DOT projects within Newcastle that are coming. They have to do with culvert replacements. That'll be in the next several years. You will see a culvert replacement on 117 by Old House Lane and another one by the entrance to the Sawmill Parkway by the Horace Greeley statue. The other projects are county projects. And they have to do with the relief sewer on Joan Corwin Way. I am told that is set to go out to bid in the fall of 2024, that they've already received New York State Department of Health approval, and so we'll be getting some more information on that by the end of the year. After that project is completed, the county will turn its attention to the extension of the county trunk line on 120 and our water main project. In the meantime, we're still.
Just so people know, the county trunk line, that's a sewer.
Oh, I'm sorry,
So
it's a
that will be
sewer.
really helpful to people.
Right, it's gonna run up 120 to the Wagon Road camp. And that's several years out as well. Let's see, we have visioning, and the only other things that are just pending right now on us, we've completed the project for scanning in the development department. So we have switched over to Laserfiche, which is much more universally used and just much more intuitive, so we're really pleased about that. Last but not least, our engineering department completed an Annandale engineering study, which we presented to Assemblyman Chris Burdick's office for his review, and then we took and we forwarded it up to New York State DOT for their consideration. We were able to cite significant deficiencies in the sight lines coming out of Annandale, looking both left and right, and we're able to create some maps to show it to DOT through our engineering department and presented it to them on behalf of the neighbors. So we're anxiously awaiting to see if DOT's got anything to say about that.
Yeah. And you know, that'll be really important because there's so many townhouses coming online at Chappaqua Crossing that, you know, of course, the traffic will be increased and it's just an impossible sightline. So I hope that they can do something reasonable that we suggested.
I hope so too. We did
Yeah.
have a couple of good suggestions in there, but
Yeah,
we leave it to the
very
state.
easy suggestions.
That's all I've got.
Okay, Jill, thank you very much. I mean, this was part of our newly reinstituted quarterly reports. We're getting quarterly reports now for our financials and for our projects. So thank you to Rob and thank you to Jill. This will keep us updated and also will keep the community apprised of what we're doing. So thank you very much for that. And so that's it for the business part of our meeting. Now we are going to come up to public comment and new business. I just want to recognize that we have people in the audience, and I just before public comment, I do want to reiterate the issue of the Israeli flag, which we discussed, I believe, on the meeting of the 27th, was it? Or of February 27th. And we talked about the lowering of the flag possibly after 180 days, on or about. We didn't have complete unanimity. I was taking a temperature of the board and there seemed to be majority consensus to do that. But it's a topic that we've continued to think about. So I just would like to say a few more words about it. But before I do, I'm really required to say legally that this is a public forum issue. It has to do with town-owned land and our town flag. And we don't take requests for that because what would happen is it would create a public forum for town-owned land, and we would have to treat everyone equally if we took requests. So we would have to take any requests that people would ask for. So that's why we have to say that this has to be a decision of the town board alone. But we always hear from our public, right? So the first thing that I wanna say is that without equivocation, all of us up here stand in solidarity with Israel and with our Jewish community. The flag was raised after October 7th, and we were glad it was raised, and it was raised for very obvious reasons. I mean, we wanted to stand in solidarity and support after the horrific, barbaric events of October 7th and to stand in support of the hostages. It was clear what it meant to us and what it meant to the outside world. Since then, it's been almost 6 months, and there have been a lot of intervening events as there can be expected. And so there are a lot of things that a flag can mean. There's been an expanding war in Lebanon with all the Iranian proxies in Syria and other countries, including on the Red Sea. We have Israeli policies, we have the Prime Minister Netanyahu and his policies, we have war strategies that his cabinet is actually conflicted about. There are many things that Israelis agree and disagree on. I mean, I can tell you, I have family there too. And so when we raised the flag, there are two things that it communicated. It communicated what we wanted to us internally, but we also have to be aware of what the flag communicates to the outside world. And a flag can communicate any number of those things that I just described, Israeli policies. It doesn't necessarily communicate a message about the hostages, although it does to us. So as a town board, we have to be aware of the messages that we're communicating to the world and the appropriateness of those matters in local town governance. So we care deeply about the hostages. And I hope that we can find a way, a less politicized way of representing our support for them. I know that in Israel there is a yellow ribbon campaign, and this is what represents the hostages in Israel. I think we can do something like that. We can talk to our community about ways that we can show our support for hostages. But there are less politicized ways and more human ways to do that. So while we may disagree on the timing of lowering the flag, we don't disagree with the concepts behind raising it. When we talk about flags of other nations, I mean, you could see that the Israeli flag was raised on the Westchester County, either at the county center or where their offices are, I don't really know. It was raised at the state capitol, but it's been lowered at both without any controversy. And that doesn't mean that our friends in the county government or the state government don't support Israel. Someone told me that Israel raised the US flag for 3 days after 9/11. They lowered it. That doesn't mean they didn't support us. Flags are raised and lowered in governments without incident. We live under the US flag. The red, white, and blue is the flag we live under. And we don't have a policy here about when flags are raised and when they're lowered. The Ukrainian flag is no longer flying, and that happened last year, not because people decided to take it down, but because it got shredded in the weather. That was not the best way for a flag to go away. There is no policy. So, these are all the thoughts that I've had. We want to be clear about our messages. We want to be clear that we support the hostages. So, I'm sure there's a lot more to say. We're certainly willing to listen to people who have come here for public comments. I appreciate and I respect every one of you and what you'll have to say. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything else at this time.
I would like to.
But yes, you're very welcome to.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment and acknowledge all the residents that took the time to reach out in support of the flag of Israel flying in town. We heard from more residents in the last week pleading with us to keep the flag flying high than we have heard from those who are against it. It has never been more clear to me just how much this gesture of solidarity meant to so many in our community. Understanding the concerns of these residents and addressing the rise of anti-Semitism in our own community is central to any conversations or actions we take in fostering community healing. I see you, I hear you, and I'm with you.
Okay, so anyone, please come up for public comment, state your name. You don't have to state your full address, but just state the street that you live on and the town.
My name's Eli Benson. I live on 19 Williams Lane. I have 2 children, a little boy and a girl, and my wife Jenny. Look, I wanna be very clear. Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. When you take that flag down, it is an action against the Jewish people. There are hostages in Israel, they have not been released. They are fighting a terrorist organization recognized by the United States of America and the European Union. It sends a clear signal. I was not here at the last town meeting, but my understanding of the events are the following. A very hostile group of people made a lot of comments that were anti-Israel rhetoric, and suddenly the decision to take the Israeli flag was made and it's been decided upon. Now I will tell you, I have lived in London for 6 years. I know what it's like as a family to walk around a city, and this was before October 7th, not being able to show your Star of David. And God help me if that ever happens in Chappaqua. And this is the first step, because what happens, and I'm in chats with friends in London, the police are not protecting them. The government is not protecting them. If you do not make a strong response now, they will come back harder. I'm not guessing, I know. I've been to Israel 50 times. I have some very close friends fighting in Gaza. 20 years old, 30 years old, 50 years old. There's only one message you can send right now, and it's to be strong. And finally, I would like to say, I was here at the Peace March several weeks ago. Do you know what one young youth was shouting at the Peace March? He was shouting, October 7th should happen over and over again. Death to the Jews, death to my family. The police did a good job, for sure. I filed a police report. I'm gonna file an FBI report. These people are not welcome in my town that I pay taxes in. And if more people were aware of the dangers and have been to London, do you know that Jews have left Paris? They don't live there anymore. It's not safe. No one here can guarantee me that that won't happen in the United States. It might. And I'm telling you, these type of actions will lead to that, potentially lead to those consequences. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hanoi. I'm a resident of Chappaqua. I live on King's Court. First, I would like to thank the town board for raising the flag. I would like to say what it meant to me. On October 7th, with the raise of anti-Semitic comments from immediately after that, not even before the first bomb was dropped in Gaza, I felt isolated. I felt under attack. I felt like the memory of my grandpa that survived the Holocaust are coming back to me, and I see it in front of my eyes, and I can do next to nothing. I looked at the flag, and it gave me comfort. It made me feel that I'm not alone. So thank you for that. I would like also to say that today is a very sad day. Today, Itai Chen is a fellow American citizen and also resident of my hometown in Israel, Netanya, was announced dead. He was killed in October 7, and his body was hijacked into Gaza to be held as a bargain. With Itai, there are 5 more hostages, American hostages, believed to be alive. Sagi Dekel, Idan Alexander, Omer Natura, and Keith Dekel. These are all fellow American citizens held in Gaza. I cannot say anything about lowering the flag, that's a town decision. But how are we going to make sure that they are still in our memory? We still know that while we live this comfortable life up here, our fellow citizens are being held there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you, Ali. Anyone else? Okay, no one else? Okay. Thank you for, would anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry, yes, is there anyone online? Okay, I see Rob Fleischer online. Rob, please.
Before Rob says something, can I just say one quick thing, Vicky?
Yes, hang on, Rob, someone is going to say something, yes.
I just wanted to thank you so much for being out every weekend with the table with the hostages represented. It's meant a lot to me to come over and talk with you. We did that a lot over the summer especially, and I realize how much pain you're in. I can see it. It's powerful. And thank you for being brave enough to do that in our community and to keep reminding us how important it is to stay alert and aware. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else, Holly?
No, I don't.
Okay, we'll take online comments on Zoom now. Rob, can you unmute yourself and go ahead? And state your name and your street address and town.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Very
Rob
loud, very
Fleischer
loudly.
On Oak Hill Road in Chapel, New York. I was listening to the opening statements about how one of the problems that developed with the flag was it became unclear what it stood for. And I'm curious to know, is that, and one of the things that I'm closely associated with is solidarity with the hostages who are still kept in Gaza and who Hamas seems to have no interest at all in releasing. But if there's an issue with what the flag means, why can't we just simply state why it's up and make that, clear to people? And so it doesn't have to be interpreted by anybody that might associate it with certain actions of the Israeli government that many people might not like. It seems like it's something that, if that's the issue, that seems like a very easily solvable issue to every resident of the town, because you can contact or publish why it's up there. As for people who are driving through town, I'm less concerned about them. I don't think we have an obligation to them. But I understand the obligation to people in town, but I would just think that there's the ability to define very clearly why it's up there. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Anyone else online for public comment?
No other hands are raised.
No other hands are raised, okay. I just wanted to address one of the things that I heard, and I understand the perception and what happened at our last meeting, but there was a group of people here who were really vociferously protesting a change that we were making to our town assembly and parade provisions, which we'll get back to at another meeting. So we had planned on talking about the flag at that meeting. We had no idea that those people were coming to that meeting. So I just want to make it clear that our thinking and our discussion had absolutely nothing to do with any group of people coming here. This is independent, and we were not responding to that at all. And I know I understand that that was a perception because it happened at the same meeting. We talked about the flag, and then I forget what order it was in actually. Did we speak about the
flag came first,
we
and
thought-
then you
yeah, I thought
opened
so.
the
The flag
public
came-
comment, and it was about
But it was at the
permit.
same meeting, so there was that perception. So again, I just wanna say that we absolutely want to convey the message of support for the hostages. We wanna convey a message of support for our Jewish community. And I would like to be able to do that without raising the flag of it. Or we have raised the flag, but I would like to do that without having to maintain a flag of another nation for an indefinite amount of time. That's really the difficulty. Like I said, the flag was raised by Westchester County at the New York State Capitol. It was lowered. It doesn't mean that our friends at the county, George Latimer, is a strong supporter of Israel and the Jewish people. Doesn't mean it doesn't support anymore. Our New York State government is strongly in support. They lowered the flag. It doesn't mean that they don't support Israel or the hostages. I appreciate Rob Fleischer's comment, I do. But as you can see, even, when we send a letter to people that their water is gonna get turned, people don't read our town newsletters. I don't flatter myself that everybody's reading what I write. We are a town government, And we don't have the luxury of necessarily representing our personal views. You can come here and, you can express your personal views, but we have to be mindful of what a town government is saying. And so that's what we're looking at, and our town government can certainly say we stand in support of our Jewish community and the hostages, but putting up the flag of another nation is another matter, and the further we get from the more intervening incidents that happen, the more that goes on in Israel, I think the more ambiguous that message is, and we wanna retain the focus on supporting our Jewish community and supporting the hostages. So my ask to you, and it may be too much to ask, but I will ask anyway, is that you help us and take ownership of this issue and find ways to express that support without having to maintain the flag in perpetuity. We don't know. I mean, I wish to God I could say I know when the hostages are coming back. We know. It's really too sad even for me to get into now. We don't know. And so we have to be mindful that we're a town government and that we can't be immersed in the issues of the Middle East and what is going to happen, what will inevitably happen as time goes on. So, I mean, I could talk about this for a long time. I don't wanna go on and on, but I know that a lot of people will disagree. There are people on all sides, so we've heard from people who want the flag to come down, and I can't say we're not happy about any of this. But the local town government cannot fly the flag in perpetuity. So we will find ways to show our support for the hostages and for our Jewish community. And I hope you can help us to do that. So I haven't closed public comment officially, so I see someone who wants to speak. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Eshke on Shady Lane in Chappaqua. And I think that what this gentleman said was a very important point about safety. And I think one of the ways that we can show support for Israel is by making sure that our security is there to defend people who might be attacked, in an anti-Semitic way. And so that to me is one way of making a show that we do support Israel by protecting our Jewish fellow citizens.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else for public comment?
Can I actually maybe say one thing?
Yeah, of course, sure.
I wanna thank you for coming and, sharing your perspective. And my heart is absolutely broken for everyone who's feeling pain. But it's especially broken that people are feeling fear in our town. And to me, that's not acceptable. I don't know that I believe that the flag is gonna make the difference. But what I do know is I want everyone to feel safe, and I'd like to know that we can find ways to be a community that is safe for everyone who chooses to live here. It's just important to me.
Okay. All right, so I will close public comment at this time. Thank you very much to everyone who came, and please.
Can I sneak in there?
Oh, okay, yes,
I'll make it
absolutely.
quick, guys, and I wasn't planning.
Absolutely, it's fine.
I wasn't planning. Seth Childish.
It's really
I
fine.
once ran
Hello,
for town
Seth.
board.
Yes.
Very nice to see you. Rob, I know you. Thanks. Listening to this, and I know Ellie well, and the flag means something different to everybody. And so we can say, hey, what it means to Ellie or someone who's Israeli, and your position as a board is very hard. I truly honestly feel you feel the pain and would like to keep it up. I think in some fashion you have to also respect that there's another perspective that people might feel when they see the Israeli flag. I don't agree with that, but you have to respect that. I appreciate and that the flag was put up in the first place. To be honest, I think that was a very nice gesture and something that felt good as for someone like me when I heard that. I would say that if you do choose to take it down, and that's something that you have the right, I don't agree with it. I think it means a lot. However, I respect that decision and I can see why you would. If I was on the board, I probably wouldn't want it, but I would tell you that maybe if you do decide to take it down, which I hope you don't, maybe there's something that could be done as a final gesture or a symbolic type of ceremony taking it down, with taking it down with some type of speech or something, and maybe replacing that with what you'd said, some type of yellow ribbon, or us participating to keep that, on a personal level and keeping it out of the town. And I'm sure people might not be happy about taking it down, but if it's inevitable, because and I agree with you can't keep it up forever, this is the US, and we really are Americans first. But I think that gesture might go a long way, and it might keep the honor of the flag being put up in the first place for, I think, a decent amount of time, and taking it down with words and a ceremony might keep that flag and the belief that you put it up in the first place. I think that would go a long way, so I hope you would consider that. And that was just thought up right here. I just, after hearing what everyone's saying, I think that could potentially be meaningful to a lot of people. So that's all I have. Thank you what you guys do. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You did an awesome job, by the way, on that. I want to let you know.
Seth, you could have been sitting here.
No.
As you know.
When you guys are ready for a dog park, because I'm a dog specialist, at Getty Park, you let me know. I'll set that up for you.
But I'm glad you mentioned that, because we have been in conversation, I've been in conversation with Rabbi Jaffe, and some of us have. So we're going to transfer the flag to Temple Beth El. And so Rabbi Jaffe will take it and fly the flag at Temple Beth El, and there was a thought of sharing it among the local temples, so maybe Rabbi Busso would also take it at Bet Torah, and they could share it, and we could talk about a ceremony. We had talked about doing a Havdalah ceremony, possibly. So there are different things that we can do, but we most definitely want to be respectful about lowering the flag, and we're not gonna lower it and put it somewhere. We're going to transfer it to our local temples to share.
On that I mean that's great, and even putting the perspective of a less religious part of it, because I think it's great that it's going to a temple and everything. I think there are people who are just want to support Israel, maybe not want to have the religious part of it, and I think that should be, if you're going to have a rabbi, that's fine. I think it should be bigger than that. I think it should be, not necessarily religious. Not that a rabbi automatically, but I think it would ring true to a lot of people, especially if it wasn't necessarily religious, because that's not how I see this conflict. But I think it's great that you guys are discussing it, and I'll speak for myself, but I appreciate that you even made the decision to put it up. I hope it flies for much longer, but if not, I for me personally, it was special. It was special to see it.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Thanks everybody.
Thank you. Anyone else? There's one more person. Okay. All right then. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening and understanding. And this is not easy. It's not an easy subject. So we appreciate it. Okay, so I think we're going to move on to the rest of the business of our meeting. I will officially close, I haven't closed it yet, so I will officially close public comment.
Thank you.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you, and we will now move on to our resolutions, to our consent agenda. So let's see, let's do something different. Let's start with Jen, because she always gets
Changing it up.
So we'll go around this way, alright? So we can start with you, Jen.
Okay. I move to adopt the items 1 through 9 as listed on the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to accept the resignation of Carlos Ramirez from the position of Town Prosecutor effective April 12th, 2024. The town would like to thank Carlos for his service.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to authorize the reappointment of Rick Stein as a member of the Board of Assessment Review for a 5-year term effective retroactively from October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2028.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, go ahead, Hon.
I move to authorize the appointment of Amanda Goldberg and Beth Powell as temporary members of the Board of Assessment Review pursuant to the provisions of Real Property Tax Law 523A for a term of 12 months effective April 18th, 2024 through April 17th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
I move to authorize the appointment of Corey Sika as a member of the Environmental Review Board for a 3-year term effective March 13th, 2024 through March 12th, 2027.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, was the last one, Jackie?
Sure. I move to authorize the reimbursement of $760.91 to Councilmember Holly McCall for the costs associated with the Association of Towns Newly Elected Officials Training School held on February 18th through the 19th, 2024 in New York City, which includes the cost of accommodations. And did you want me to note that?
I want Jen to second and then we will
Second.
discuss. Okay, and I just wanna note that 3 of us attended this, Holly, Jen and I, so I just wanted to make note that the amount is not just for Holly, it's for the 3 of us.
And I also just wanted to clarify that it was the training school and the conference, so it was
Right, it was an entire 3
it wasn't only
day.
for the newly electeds.
Correct, that's right. Yes, it was a 3-day conference, Association of Towns, and it was very helpful to all of us, so. All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Please say aye. Aye. Okay, that does it for our meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.